Coming up on Colonial Sports Center, the Colonials bid farewell to one of the most successful coaches in recent program history.
Men's basketball player Conrad Stevens will be in studio with correspondent Kristen Kudla.
All that and more coming up next on this edition of Colonial Sports Center. Welcome to Colonial Sports Center. I'm Dan Kitchen.
I'm Ian Kist.
Men's basketball player Conrad Stevens is in studio to sit down with our own Kristen Kudla.
The men's basketball team was in the AHC Finals this past weekend. We'll see how they fared.
We're going to go ahead and stick with a team who made the NCAA tournament recently, the women's basketball team. And first they had to make a run as a 3 seed through the NEC tournament, winning 2 games on the road. And then we had,
wasn't easy.
And then, yeah, it wasn't easy at all. And then they sat through the excitement of the selection show. And all of that led up to this, a game against the best team in the nation, the University of Connecticut. Colonials is a 16 versus a 1 seed going to face huge odds to be able to contend.
Funny game though, you never know.
You never know, but things got off to a rocky start for the Colonials, down 21 points in the first and then falling victim to a bad bounce off the rim and a great Husky backdoor cut for the layup. RMU also found UConn can hit from deep in the second, rotating the ball around the three-point arc until Mariah Jefferson, number 4, gets it and drains the three. The Huskies shot 10 of 18 from long range in the game, a stellar percentage for them. And at a break at the half wouldn't stop their three-point range, with Brianna Stewart, one of the stars of the team, nailing one from the corner. Stewart, one of 6 Huskies to reach double-digit points in the game. Final quarter of the women's basketball season for RMU. RMU playing some better defense, but overextending up at the top of the arc, trying to stop those threes from UConn, and they end up falling for the pump fake right here, which is going to allow UConn to get the final basket of the game for themselves. And unfortunately for Robert Morris, bright moments did not come along too often against the undefeated Huskies in a 101-49 defeat. And Ananiki Stamalampu was the lone Colonial in double figures in points, scoring 11. Seniors Ashley Ravelli and Lou Madeley finished 2nd and 3rd on the team in scoring in their final appearances as Colonials. It was an emotional experience for the Colonials, making it through the NEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, and the emotion was heightened realizing this was the final season under legendary head coach Sal Biscaglia. Biscaglia has been coaching for almost 40 years, 13 of them at RMU, and he was understandably emotional following the loss to UConn.
Sorry. After 38 years of doing this and knowing I'm not going to do it again, it's just kind of hard, you know. I'm not Peyton Manning, I'm not those people, but it's still the same feeling, And they make it so darn hard because they're so damn good kids. They make it so hard. I wish they were lousy kids. No, I don't. Because they're so good. They go to school. They personified student athlete. They got 3.6 average. They never come late. They just, there's always sir. They told the bus driver, thank you. Everyone who gets off the bus says thank you, thank you. And the bus driver says, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. I'm saying maybe just one of you should say thank you. But that's the way they are, And they make it so damn hard. But to teach them I always think life lessons are more important. UConn's a great team. They beat our butts, especially in the first quarter. But I just hope they reflect on the fight, the fight. And that's what we personified in that fourth quarter. And yet we were down by 40, 50 points. And we're still fighting. So that's what I want to relate to them. That's what I told them. Always fight. There's a lot of obstacles in life, no matter what. It could be race, it could be religion, it could be whatever it could be. And I tell them, don't let anybody get in your way just because you're a female. Okay, just because you're a female. Don't let anybody get away. Knock those walls down. Jump over them. Don't be the vice president. Be the president. Don't be assistant commissioner. Be the commissioner. And that's what I want to teach them. And I hope in life they'll go on and hear what I said and never let anybody treat them as second class. Never. Because there's no second class citizens, especially in this country.
The Colonials traveled to Rochester, New York for their semifinal game against Army West Point. This game determined if the Colonials would be staying in New York for another day in the AAC championship game or coming back to Moon Township. The highlights will tell us what the Colonials did Friday night. Colonials Black Knights. Army's going to open the scoring as Clint Carlisle zips one past Harry Schaefer in net for RMU to give RMU the 1-0 lead. Now we're going to go to the second period where the Colonials up, taking the puck up the ice, and Eric Israel, the freshman, midway through the second period, ties the game in a sigh of relief for RMU as they tied the game and is basically in a 0-0 start as they tried to finish off and extend what they started with this goal right here. but there was no scoring in the third period, so we are going to go to overtime as the Israel forced overtime, and Colonial's moving up the ice, getting it past Army defenders, and you're going to see it right here, the dish to Zach Lynch. And the Colonials, just like that, have won the game and will be going on to against RIT in the AAC Championship. Big celebration. Hopefully no one got hurt because they needed everybody 24 hours later. And we are going to take another look. Lynch shot right past the shoulder of Army's goalie, and that was it. Celebrations all around. Sigh relief for the senior, who we'll be hearing his name later on in the show. A bunch of seniors later on in the show.
David Freeman, guy who made the pass right there for him, we're going to hear him
The
as
senior
well.
show, and that was a wrap for Game 1 in Rochester. The Colonials got the victory, but it wasn't an easy task for RMU. Army secured a first period goal late in the opening period on a power play, but freshman Eric Israel got the Colonials on the board with a second period goal on the assist from seniors Greg Gibson and Zach Lynch. The third period was scoreless and overtime was needed, like we saw. In overtime, Lynch's goal was the determining factor if RMU would stay in Rochester for another day. Senior goaltender Terry Schaefer came up huge for the Colonials as he kept his team in the game with a 39-save performance. The overtime goal sent the Colonials to the AHC Championship game against rival RIT on Saturday.
The Colonials got past the round that knocked them out of the AHC tournament last year, but they still had the RIT Tigers in their way to a path to the Pesky Tigers in the path to their NCAA tournament appearance. And this was even harder than the Army game because the AHC tournament every year is held in Rochester. So RIT is going to be on their home ice for this game, and both teams are aware of what's at stake, and they both came out firing for the entire game. Everyone looking pumped up there. Colonials goalie's getting ready, but Greg Gibson would strike first for the Colonials, beating the goaltender on a good pass, and obviously happy they're close to the NCAA tournament, but RIT wouldn't stay down for long. Liam Cairns roofing a shot from the center of the zone, and then it was RIT's turn to lead. Greg Amlong waiting on the one-time pass in the corner and letting it loose, absolutely blowing it by Terry Schaefer. Locked and loaded for a good 2 seconds there before that shot came in. David Friedman had himself a game for RMU though, in the playoffs for that matter, retying the game on a shot from the point. But Cairns from RIT also had a great day himself, a couple of goals. His second one's going to come right here, all alone on the right side. He's going to beat Terry Schaefer glove side, and going into the first break, Tigers are up 3-2. They'd have their first great opportunity of the second as well. Danny Smith all alone approaching Terry Schaefer, and he's going to beat him glove side for the 2-goal lead. And then the Colonials come charging back though. David Friedman already has 1 point in the game. He has the puck along the boards. He finds Brandon Denham, who makes it a 1-goal game again. But RIT had some slick passing of their own, holding the puck behind the net of the Colonials with Colonials defenders all over them. And they're going to wait for Miles Powell to get in front, and he's going to score. And then later on in the third period, after celebrating that goal, he's going to blow the score wide open. He's going to be wide open in front of the net. Terry Schaefer not there, no defenders checking him, and he's going to get the goal right there. It's her second goal of the game, and then RMU's trying to echo that play. David Freeman gets it to Matt Cope, same spot that Powell was in, but unfortunately with 7 minutes left, 6-4, too much of a deficit for the Colonials to overcome, and that shot that trickles in right there is going to be the nail in the Colonials' coffin, and the Tigers are going to go on to the NCAA tournament, obviously happy, celebrating with the AHC Conference Trophy. So for the second year in a row, the Colonial season came to a premature end in the Atlantic Hockey Tournament after a 7-4 defeat at the hands of the Tigers. RMU was able to get outstanding production from their seniors, playing their final game with 9 of their 11 total points coming from the class of 2016. David Freeman was named to the all-tournament team for RMU after recording 3 goals and 6 assists in their 5 games.
This year's Colonial hockey class leaves as the winningest team in school history, helping to multiple AHC conference tournaments and a bid to the NCAA tournament a few years back. That proves why many of them signed professionally after last weekend. David Freedom, Greg Gibson, Evan Moore, Terry Schaefer, Matt Cope, and Chase Golightly have signed with East Coast Hockey League teams. Friedman signed with the Fort Wayne Comets, an affiliate of the Colorado Avalanche. Freeman finished third in scoring this season as he totaled 42 points and 12 goals. Gibson signed with the Florida Everblades, an affiliate of the Carolina Hurricanes. Gibson finishes this season with 29 goals, 22 assists, and 51 points. Moore signed with the Elmere Jackals, an affiliate of the Buffalo Sabres. Moore finished his RMU career with 31 points and 226 block shots. Cope signed with the Norfolk Admirals, an affiliate with the Edmonton Oilers. Cope recorded 78 points, 28 goals, and 50 assists as a Colonial. Schaefer signed with the Indy Fuel affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. Schaefer became the winningest goalie in RMU history with 43 career victories. Golightly will join Gibson on the Everblades as he finished this season with 24 points, 5 goals, and 19 assists.
The Colonials class of 2016 wasn't done sending players to the pros just yet, with 2 other names signing over the past 48 hours to an even higher league. Team captain Tyson Wilson and all-time program scoring leader Zach Lynch both agreed to deals with teams in the American Hockey League, the primary developmental league for the NHL. Lynch is signed to the Portland Pirates, an affiliate of the Florida Panthers, and Wilson joined the Manitoba Moose, a partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Wilson has led all Colonial defensemen in scoring each of the last 3 seasons, while Lynch is the only Colonial to appear in the top 4 of every offensive career record in program history and was named the MVP of the Three Rivers Classic this year in his hometown of Pittsburgh. You know what else? Zach Lynch was also named a Hobie Baker finalist, one of the final 10, and Brandon Denham, the last member of this class who has not signed yet. Obviously, he's going to soon because he was also a Hobie Baker nominee for the Colonials.
We will talk about the upcoming football season as the NCAA released the Colonials 2016 schedule, and we'll have Conrad Stevens in studio with Kristen Kudla. All that and more coming up on Colonial Sports Center.
Stay up to date on all Pittsburgh sports, including RMU, by tuning in to Sports Talk in the Burgh. Broadcasts air Wednesday on the RMU-TV YouTube channel.
Looking for these? You drive Buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Football season's a while away, but the Colonials just got their schedule, and it looks like a good one. Colonials going to be facing a lot of non-conference opponents early on in the season, and then the NEC schedule is going to be backloaded again. They have all the familiar foes, just like Wagner, St. Francis, CCSU, all the teams they're used to facing every time. And then they have that rivalry match with Duquesne on October 15th, always going to be the biggest game on the schedule.
The one thing I noticed on the schedule was there's no bye week for the Colonials. The first time in, I believe, 8 seasons, this hasn't happened. So they're playing 11 straight games. That 12th week is technically their bye week. So that's going to be very tough. And they're playing tough FCS opponents this season. Dayton, the longest running non-conference rivalry in program history. And then they have the conference play with a game with Liberty. The Colonials got their biggest victory in 2010 in program history against Liberty. But Liberty is on the cusp of moving to the FBS. So that is a very large task for the Colonials this season. And as we've seen, they're making progress, but it seems like a game that Liberty will be highly favored in. So that'll be a tough one and a tough game to examine as we get obviously closer to football season.
And then you have teams like Youngstown State, Dayton, who we've played before, that are obviously going to be tough. They're going to be good early season gauges for whether or not the Colonials are going to be contenders again, because you saw early in the season, the end of the season record didn't look too good for RMU, but they contended with teams like Dayton, YSU, who hung in there and were some of the best in the FCS this past season. And then they have 2 new opponents on there as well, in Alderson Broadus and Malone.
That's a night game. Maybe that would be a big win probably some fireworks after the game, like a tradition, and just bring the momentum in the night game. Hopefully, most of the student body will be there.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle these new opponents that they haven't played yet so far in a long time.
The men's lacrosse team began Northeast Conference play Saturday in their conference opener against the Sacred Heart Pioneers. Could the Colonials pioneer their way to a victory? Let's find out. Pioneers, Colonials, James Ray fights his way through 4 defenders and passes one into the back of the net to give RMU the 1-0. But then the Sacred Heart on the attack, and they're going to tie the game at 1 minute later. Now we're going to move on to the second quarter, and Adrian Torg-Orb passes to Eric Rankel on the man-up advantage, and it's 3-2 RMU. Third quarter, RMU up 9-4 with 7:16 left. In the third quarter, James Ray notches his 3rd goal of the game and his 9th of the season. Pioneers upset with their defensive breakdown there. But then down 6 goals later in the quarter, Jerk rips one for Sacred Heart, and then we're going to the fourth quarter, 11-7. Torg-Orb increases RMU's lead and notches his 4th goal of the game and his 15th goal of the season. He gives hugs to his teammates, and the Colonials won 12-7. Robert Morris' offense was powered by sophomore Adrian Torg-Orbin's 4 goals. 3 of Torg-Orbin's 3 goals came back-to-back during the Colonials' 6-goal run between the second and third periods that opened their lead to 10-4. Sacred Heart attempted a comeback when they scored 3 straight goals near the end of the game, but RMU's defense and goalies Alex Heger and Matt Bukopvac held the Pioneers off for the 12-7 win in the huge first conference win of the season. The Colonials take on Mount St. Mary's this Saturday on the road in Emmitsburg, Maryland.
RMU's softball team had a rough outing at the Blue Gold Challenge this past weekend, going winless in 4 games. Colonials played a pair of games against Northern Illinois and North Carolina Greensboro in the challenge, getting shut out in both Illinois games and one of the 2 versus UNC. Jordan Gerganis again led the Colonials in hits over the course of the weekend with 6 total. Kristen Gabelt and Olivia LaRusso were the lone RMU batters to pick up both an RBI and a run scored during the 4 games. Pitchers Caitlin Elzy and Lacey Collins each picked up 2 of the losses on the mound over the weekend. The Colonials also had 2 games scheduled against George Washington that same weekend, but both were canceled.
The softball team battled the Penn State Nittany Lions Wednesday evening in a doubleheader in University Park, Pennsylvania. Could the Colonials tame the Nittany Lions in Game 1? RMU got out to an early 2-0 lead in the second inning on a Lauren Hackett RBI double to center field, and then later scored another run in the inning on Kristen Pray's ground out, which brought home Hackett. Penn State scored a run in the third inning to cut their deficit to 1, but RMU held off the Nittany Lions for the remainder of the game. Freshman pitcher Caitlin Elzy improved to 7-9 on the season. Elzy gave up 1 run on 3 hits and struck out 3 opposing batters in the complete game performance.
RMU was unable to capitalize on their win earlier in the day against the Nittany Lions, dropping the second part of their doubleheader by a final score of 8-5. A 6-run inning for Penn State proved to be the difference maker in the game after the Nittany Lions homered and had 4 straight batters reach base, with 3 of them scoring. Robert Morris was paced offensively with 2 hits coming from Ashley Gearhart and Olivia LaRusso each, and 2 of their 3 RBIs arriving off the bat of Stacy Kapp.
Now, this men's basketball season might not have went the way fans expected it to, but there was one man who ended up having a breakout year with the Colonials. Here's Kristen Kula with men's basketball player Conrad Stevens for a preview of what's to come later in the show.
Thanks, Ian. Well, Conrad, he said it himself. You had quite the impressive season this year. What can you kind of, how would you describe the season?
A lot of ups and downs, for sure. It's obviously not the way we wanted it to go. Losing in the quarterfinal of the NEC tournament, but we got to learn from that and pick it up next year.
Now, coming up after the break, I have more with Conrad and maybe even some discussion about Coach Toole going on after the break.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
No siempre es fácil ser padre,
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
pero cuando haces un esfuerzo,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go long, son.
siempre vale la pena.
Whoa, master!
Los momentos más pequeños pueden tener un gran impacto en la vida de un niño. Tome el tiempo hoy para ser papá.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Llama al 877-4DA-411 o visita fatherhood.gov para obtener más información.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
And welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. I'm here with the breakout star of the Colonials this year's junior forward, Conrad Stevens. Conrad, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you had quite the breakout season this year, but before we get to that, you kind of were a little bit of a Cinderella story. You're the walk-on. This is your second season with the Colonials, but it wasn't always that way. How did you become the walk-on on the team?
Well, my freshman year, I was a walk-on. I mean, I was a practice player for the women's team, helping them out 6 a.m. with practice and everything. Then halfway through the year, Coach Toole came to Sal because he needed more players to get the team better. He needed more practice players, and that's how I helped him out my freshman year. Then my sophomore year, transitioning into my sophomore year during that summer, I thought a lot about it, and I texted one of the coaches asking them if I could help out the team again. And so I became a student manager for the first half of the season my sophomore year. Then I eventually ended up walking on second half.
Now, for that second half of the season was because of all the misfortunes that the team had. However, he kind of ended the season, I believe, at one of the highest points that any team really could have, is making it not only past the play-in round, the play-in game of the NCAA tournament, but into the first initial round of that tournament as well. What was that like as a walk-on?
Incredible. I never thought I'd be in a part of a program that could get to this place. I never thought that I'd be at the NCAA tournament on the bench, sitting with teammates and watching us play basketball, helping us play basketball. So it was a pretty amazing experience.
Now this year, you weren't just sitting on the bench anymore. You were getting a lot more playing time, and you actually became a little bit of the sixth man towards the midway of the season. How did you stay so dedicated and so persistent toward the middle hump of the season when some people might have even given up?
I'm not just that type of person. I work hard every day. I do what I'm asked. I do what the coaches ask me to do. And I just do what I do in practice. That's pretty much it, plain and simple.
Now, that dedication, that hard work that you've put into, do you think you can kind of credit that to your freshman year where you were the manager for not only the women's but the men's team as well, and you were putting in those hard work and all that hours? Do you think that's kind of helped you out through your junior year as well?
Definitely. I mean, I had to load my freshman year with double duty with the men's and women's team, going to class. So it was a lot to take in, but I think that really helped me get comfortable helping out the men's team.
Now, you got really comfortable with the team this year. I mean, you guys did fairly well. You had a little bit of a rough patch, but you did make it to the NEC tournament. What was that like coming into this season where you were actually playing a majority of it?
It was incredible. Like, I love playing in it. It obviously didn't go the way we wanted to go, but it was an honor. It was an honor to play in the tournament and get playing time.
Now, what kind of was your role as a walk-on, or not even just a walk-on, but as a player? What did you bring to the team this season?
Doing the right thing every day, doing what I'm asked. Pretty much my role to begin with was pretty much practice squad, you know, a scout team, act as the other opponent and practice against the players. But yeah, just doing what I'm asked and doing the right thing.
Now you set a great example for especially a lot of the walk-ons who came on this season especially. Last year you were the only walk-on. This year there's a total of, I believe, 4 of you on the team. How did you kind of mentor those players?
I just tried to be a good person. Like I said, yeah, just do it. I try to tell them, you know, it's not hard. I mean, it's definitely hard. It's not easy. But if you stay dedicated, do the right thing every day, you'll be fine. And it's fun. It's a good experience.
I think that says a lot about you, especially as a walk-on, because a lot of players have a little bit more on the line. But for you, I could tell that you're playing this because you love the game. In the NEC tournament, you made it all the way there. Towards once everything wrapped up, and you were in that locker room. What was that experience like?
It was incredible. You know, we want to make the NEC tournament every year. That's one of our destinations. Host the NEC tournament, play in the NEC championship game, and go to the NCAA tournament. So obviously we didn't do 2 of those things this year, but we got to the tournament. And
now, real quick, looking into the future, what can you guys take from this season and the seasons past and bring it into next year?
Work harder, pretty much. Last year, we had a lot of guys that really wanted to be in that position, and I think this year we didn't have like a connection like where we didn't know what we really wanted.
Yeah.
So we thought it was going to be easy. So I think we just got to work harder next year.
Well, I wish you and the rest of the team especially a lot of luck next season. Hopefully that you guys can get what you needed and get back to that NEC tournament, and hopefully the NCAA tournament your senior year. Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be amazing.
Well, Conrad, thank you so much for joining us. Coming up after the break, we take it back with Kitchen and Ian, where they are going to go over the upcoming schedule in athletics. Stay tuned.
These boys are my heroes. They come every week to spend time with my children.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
They can teach them something no one else can.
Wisconsin.
They're role models to the children, and homework comes way before sports. Their grades have improved, and their lives are just a bit richer.
Okay.
What they do for my kids is truly wonderful.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
I call them my lifeline.
People don't realize how quickly you can end up on the street. One thing happens in your life, medical bills you can't pay, you lose your job, and that's it.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
We went to DC to work with the homeless. They sell a newspaper called Street Sense. Thought I'd help.
But if you want to give more, you can.
This person came up to me and said, "Get a job." And for 2 hours, I felt what it was like to be homeless.
Good morning. $1 help.
Some of the other students said, "How can we change this?" And I said, "Sometimes you can't change the world, but you may be able to change one person's world." My dream? Open a psych clinic for people on the street.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
Three different teams are in action over 5 different days this week for the Colonials athletics. We're going to start on Friday with women's lacrosse. They will be playing at the University of Detroit at 1 p.m. on that Friday. And then it's on Saturday for a different lacrosse team.
March 26th, Saturday, men's lacrosse this time at Mount St. Mary's for their second NEC game at noon.
And then on Sunday, we have women's lacrosse at Central Michigan on the 27th. And then not pictured on there, softball will be at Youngstown State for a doubleheader Tuesday, and Kent State will be playing Kent State at home on Wednesday.
The home opener for the softball team.
All right, well, that's all we have for this edition of Colonial Sports Center. Stay tuned in for next week's show. We'll have more highlights across the Colonials athletics program.